Ready?
Ready?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Keepin It Real podcast. I'm your host, McKaleigh Lonobile, and I have a very special guest today.
I thought you weren't going to introduce me for a second. I thought you were just going to jump right into it. I was like, damn. Who's your guest?
My guest is my wonderful boyfriend, Chase Austin Lurgio. I said the middle name.
You mad at me or something? Damn, I don't know what I did.
Anyways, here's my boyfriend, Chase Lurgio. He is joining me today as my first official in-person guest on the podcast. And I'm so excited to have you here today, baby.
Thank you. I'm
You're
excited to be
welcome.
here.
You look cute.
Thank you. So what do you got in store for us today?
So we are going to be talking a little bit about our story, a little bit about our trials and our ups and downs,
So they're along for a wild ride today.
Yeah, they're along for they're
You guys better strap in and hold on
seatbelts
tight.
on because we have a lot to cover today, but we're going to make it short and sweet and also just give you a little bit of encouragement, tell you where we came from and how we got there and where we are today, and also just kind of explain our story and how we got through the hard times and, still going through the hard times. Relationships aren't perfect. They'll never be perfect. And we just want to hopefully encourage some people and anyone in relationships, marriages, anything like that to just teach you a little bit about what we know.
Yeah.
So here we go.
That pretty much sums it all up.
Are you excited to tell them about how we met?
If I remember.
You remember? That's honestly
How
so
could I ever
rude.
forget?
Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyways, I guess I'll start a little bit with our story. It's like my favorite thing ever to tell. Then you can chime in when you want to. But
You're so good at telling stories.
am I?
Yeah, I like listening.
Aw, thanks, baby. Anyways, so a little bit about our story. So as you all know, I grew up as a dancer, was dancing professionally on a cruise ship. And during COVID, I was on the ship and almost got stuck on the ship. And I ended up getting off and going home, and me and my friend were like, let's go down to Florida because my grandma has a condo here in Stuart, Florida. And she's like, let's go down and make a little trip and just, get out of New York for a little bit. And I was like, yeah, perfect. Let's do it. So we came down here and we went to the Twisted Tuna like every single day when we were down here. The Twisted Tuna is a restaurant here. It's not here anymore, but it was like one of the biggest restaurants in Stuart, Florida, and everyone went to it. And during COVID, it was still very much open and not closed down whatsoever. No one cared about COVID at the Twisted
COVID
Tuna.
Cannot stop the tuna. Shout out Sid.
Yeah, shout out Sid. But anyways, so we were there every night. Long story short, the last night that we were here, we went to the Twisted Tuna again. And we were just standing there, like hanging out with some people. And all of a sudden, this boy comes over. And the boy was Chase Austin Lurgio, the one
me?
that is sitting next to me right now.
I don't think that was me that night.
It was you.
Well, I wasn't mentally there.
It was Chaz.
It was what did he? Lance. That's
Lance.
What the bodyguard used to call me Lance when I would drink a little too much.
But anyways, Chase was there, and it was me and my friend. And at the time, I had a boyfriend, and so I could not show and was not showing any interest in Chase. So, but he was definitely showing a little bit of interest in me, and just a little bit. So he invited me and my friend to him and his friend Sid. So Sid owned the Twisted Tuna. Him and his friend Sid invited us to go to Sid's housewarming party the next day. And we were like, well, we can't go. We're leaving, blah, blah. And they were like, no, you have to stay. You have to stay. Don't leave. And I was like, no, not happening. Like, we're definitely leaving. So my friend like called me a name or something, and Chase was like, no, she's not that. She's an angel. And that was his first pickup line.
That's all I had to say. She was an angel.
I was an angel.
Had your heart at that moment. But you didn't miss out on one heck of a party.
I know I did.
It was wild. Like, crazy.
I know.
Like, I can't believe.
Don't rub it in.
No, I mean, I just can't believe how many people showed up to Sid's
I was
housewarming
there in
party?
spirit.
No, you weren't, because it was
What?
crazy.
Anyways, so didn't go to the party. We did, in fact, go home the next day. And 5 days later, I was coming back. I was like, don't worry, I'll be back in 5 days with 2 other friends. So I came back with 2 other friends, and I was telling them about this boy that I met. Like, obviously, can't be interested, had a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Still had a boyfriend at the time. And they were like, okay, whatever. So I'm like telling them about him. And I was like, yeah, his friend owns the restaurant. And as I'm telling them about him, we're pulling into the Twisted Tuna that night with me and my 2 friends. And as I'm pulling into the valet part, Chase
As soon as
walks.
here comes Chase.
As soon as I pull into the valet, Chase is walking past my car. I'm screaming, guys, that's him. Oh my gosh. So I'm literally screaming. I'm like, that's him. I get out of the car and Chase literally goes, McKaleigh, what's up? And I was like, no way. He remembers me? That's
Surprised that I remember
crazy.
your name, because I don't remember anybody's name.
You don't remember anyone's name. You're terrible at names.
I know faces. Like, I see someone, like, I know you, but I don't know your name.
Yeah, you really
so the
are.
fact that I remember your name, that's why we're
Aw,
still together.
that's so
what
sweet.
made it work out. I'm just saying.
Aw, that's really nice of you. So, anyways, I was like, hey, what's up? Like, not thinking that he was going to remember me, talk, whatever. So, me and my friends, like, went to the bar, and him and his friends came to the bar, and he, like, tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, do you want to have dinner with me and my friends tonight? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Let's do it. I think that'll be fun. So, we, like, all just had dinner with all of his friends and me and my 2 other friends. And we just had, like, the best night that night. And then Chase invited us all to go on his boat on Sunday. This was on Friday. He invited us all to go on his boat on Sunday. He's like, you got to come. It's a sandbar. It's a party. Like, everyone goes wild out there. Like, you guys need to come. I'm like, I cannot come. Like, I have a boyfriend, whatever. What?
Nothing.
You're over there smirking.
I'm just laughing because I love.
Are you
the
thinking
story so
about
much.
your pickup lines that you used to do?
No, I'm just enjoying the story as you're telling it.
Aw.
I'm reliving it in my head as you're.
I know, I'm
saying
literally
it.
watching it,
That's
like,
why I'm
play
literally
out.
like smiling as you're talking about it.
So, anyway, so I was like, no, there's no way I'm gonna be able to go on this boat. Like, I have a boyfriend, he's gonna flip out, whatever. He in fact did flip out.
And your family too.
And
'cause,
my
like,
family told me that they were going to disown
yes.
me if I went on this boat with this random boy, that I was going to be murdered and killed by this boy if I go
Because
on this.
apparently us boys down in Florida, we just invite people on our boat to murder them because it's such a common thing, I guess.
You never know in these weird days.
I guess you
And it
don't.
was
I guess you
COVID. Everything was happening. Okay. So family, not happy. Boyfriend, not happy. Went on the boat anyways. And we hung out every single day that week. We were just friends, like nothing happened because I
Yeah.
still was, with my boyfriend, but we were really just like became such good friends. And then we really kept in communication after that, and that's when feelings started to happen. And I was like, okay, I think I like this boy.
Man.
I
like
boy
this
man.
man.
I like this boy man. But you were still kind of a boy then.
No, I was 21 years old. I was man.
Definitely acted like a boy though. It's okay.
I still act like a boy, but I'm in a man's body.
So definitely like this man. Whatever. So like, yeah, you had to feel it out a little bit. Kind of feel out what I was gonna do in a relationship, but starting to like this man. And Chase is dancing on the camera if you're watching.
Just doing what you were doing, because you were just over here
moving
like
and grooving,
fist bumping, or I don't know what this was, but
so obviously when you're in a relationship and you want to be a very loyal person, which I was and always have been, it was a little bit of a struggle for me. I was trying to figure out, what do I do? I really want to be loyal to my boyfriend, but also am really feeling like it was
a struggle for both of us.
Yeah.
Because like I respected the fact that you had a boyfriend too.
Yeah. I cried every day.
Yeah. It was just like, he lived across the world.
Yeah.
And
it's not a very healthy situation. If you've ever been in that situation, it's tough because you don't know what's right and what's wrong, but when you feel something in your heart, you feel it. And I really felt something for him. Like Logan. Logan, you just ruined my podcast. My picture is up on our TV and we're recording.
Hold on, show the TV.
And look, you're up on the TV right now. This is going.
And we're back.
Sorry, we had to take a slight pause. Our friend Logan and Ariel called us, and we're back.
So it's really exciting news.
It was exciting news.
I actually wish we got it on the podcast. He's redoing his flooring, and well, we'll just leave it at that. He's redoing his flooring, and he had some exciting news to share with us.
So, anyways, they moved 3 houses down from us, and it's been such a blessing to have them 3 houses down from us. We've gotten so close.
These are adult things when you get excited about flooring.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's kind of sad.
Concrete.
We used to get excited about bars and drinking,
I never
partying.
Really got excited.
Anyways, so if you ever been in that situation and you have a feeling in your heart for someone and you just have a feeling. And I had a really strong feeling about Chase, and I had been in a tough situation in my relationship and kind of just needed to get out of it. And it's kind of crazy how it all fell into place, because it seems like God was just like, McKaleigh, this is your person. Like, trust me, trust that I'm bringing him into your life for a reason. And I feel like that's been everything what he's done. He's brought you into my life for such a good reason. Even though at the time, though, I don't think that's what you thought. No.
I think looking back on it, that's what you think now. But yeah. I think back then you weren't as close with God.
Yeah, I wasn't as close with God. So it
wasn't like a sign to you back then. It was kind of just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Remember our saying, whatever happens, happens.
Whatever happens, happens. Yeah. So me and Chase did, talk for a couple months, or actually a couple weeks. And I came and visited him, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely what I want. And I moved down a couple months later, and here we are.
Yeah.
I moved down. I met you at the end of May, and I moved down at the last week of August. Or last week of July.
And the move down was I came and visited you in New York.
Well, you came and visited me because we were either going to drive down or we were going to fly down, and you were going to help me.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't like 100% sure. It was like kind of like you might move down or you might not. And I get there, and it just so happens, another crazy God thing, this car came into your dad's lot.
I was trying to find a car so that I could drive down and have a car down here.
And this one came in. It worked out. We literally went to the dealership, picked it up, drove back to your house, loaded our luggage in it, and drove 24 hours to Florida.
And we always say, thank God we weren't dating then, and we were very freshly new.
Oh my gosh.
Because we didn't argue one time. I was like, this man is the man of my dreams. We didn't argue once. We had so much fun. Can you imagine if we did that drive now?
We would kill each other. Orlando.
No, we would kill each other.
Did we only do the drive once, or did we do it twice?
We've done it once, and we'll never do it again.
I feel like we did it twice, because it was just one of those drives that just kept going.
And going. It was awful, but it was such a good test for us. We really did so good on that trip, on that drive.
Yeah. Do you remember when we stopped in Raleigh?
Oh my gosh. And the next morning when we woke up.
And then there was a spider in the car.
There was a spider that was filled out my whole passenger car doorway. And Chase went to go get in it. He literally dug to this huge. It was like one of those dangerous spiders too in North Carolina.
I don't remember if it was a dangerous spider or if it was like a wolf spider.
Oh,
either way.
And my brand new
spiders
car
aren't good, but
it was awful.
Then we went and got a Bowberry biscuit at Bojangles.
Well, you did. I don't eat those.
I tried to get you to eat it because like you got to experience Bowberry biscuit. If you've never tried a Bowberry biscuit, it's like a biscuit with blueberries in it with like glazing on top.
Sounds awful.
It's a North Carolina thing, I guess.
Yeah,
South Carolina. I mean, they're all up north, but you got to try it. If you ever see a Bojangles and you're there in the morning time, try a Bowberry biscuit and
don't try it.
Let me know how it is.
No, don't try it. Anyways, Chase lived in North Carolina for 7 years, which when I have him on the podcast again, we'll kind of go into his life story. But yeah, he lived in North Carolina for 7 years, so that's where he ate a lot. Bojangles. That just sounds ratchet.
Bojangles.
Anyways, okay, so
so but they also
okay, we're not talking about Bojangles
They
anymore.
also have a sponsorship slot available for Bojangles. Just saying.
Oh yeah, Bojangles. If you want to sponsor us, then I'll like you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll eat the Bowberry biscuit.
There was this one time they had a fried bologna sandwich.
Ew! Come on.
and our friend went and got he went and got it, and he had it and he liked it, and he came back and he told us, he's like, have you guys ever had that fried bologna sandwich?
Bologna.
Because it says fried bologna sandwich on the Bojangles sign. So he
Ew.
thought it was bologna the whole time, and he went in and ordered and said, can I get a fried bologna sandwich?
Honestly,
And
not surprised.
yeah,
But
but
anyways,
Hardee's was also
okay, enough with the food. Cut. Yeah, so it was a little bit of a hard scenario for us to kind of navigate, me being in a relationship and getting out of a relationship and kind of what that looked like. And if you've been in that position, it's definitely not easy, but it's also when you know in your heart that something was placed on it, that it's meant to be. And that's exactly how I felt with Chase. And it just all seemed real, and I thought he was super cute, and I had never dated such a cute boy in my life. And yeah, so
Are you saying I'm the cutest boy you've ever dated?
no, you are.
But I thought we already went over this. I'm a man.
Anyways, do you remember the first time that I told you I love you?
Which time? No, I'm just kidding. Of course I remember. It was July 3rd. That's when you
Mhm.
were at the lake, right?
Mhm.
So me and McKaleigh, looking back on it now, I completely understand like why we FaceTime probably like 10, 15 times a day when we first started dating, and I was like,
Because we were long distance.
yeah, well, I mean,
Well, we weren't
we weren't
dating
dating,
yet.
yeah, we
Yeah.
weren't dating. It was just we were talking. But now I completely understand because McKaylee's also always on FaceTime with someone in her family. Someone. She's like got to be
I'm
on
always
FaceTime.
on the phone.
Always on it. And now I completely understand why she was on FaceTime me all the time. I thought she just really liked me. But point aside. Um, so it was July 3rd. You celebrate at your grandma's house.
Yeah, July 3rd in Rochester, New York is the Ring of Fire on the lake, and it's a national holiday in Rochester, New York.
Can we just get one more time? The ring of what?
Fire.
Fire. So yeah,
Fire.
I didn't know fire was FYRE.
That's what happens when you're from Rochester, New York,
Fire.
baby. That's how we talk.
Anyway, actually, FYUR is kind of how you say it.
Fire.
Fire. Okay. So, so, she had been drinking a little bit. You,
That was my life, drinking and
drinking and
partying.
partying. And, we were on the phone and she just poured.
A glass of wine after I had like tequila and vodka. And why was I drinking wine after that? Not sure.
No idea. Anyway,
Don't ever mix that.
she poured a glass of wine, and I don't know what you were trying to say, but it came out as "I love you" like a big glass of wine.
No, I think what I said was, I love a big glass of wine. And then I
That's what it was. You
I love
said
a
"I
big
love."
glass of wine, like,
No, no. I said something about a big glass of wine, and you were trying to say "I love a big glass of wine," and
but I said I love
you
you.
said "I love you"
And I
instead.
literally hung up the phone so quick. I fell on the floor and I texted him. I was like, I literally can never talk to you again.
Yep.
And we definitely ended up talking again. But I was so embarrassed because it's not what I meant. And I was very
Drunk.
drunk. And so, whatever. But long story short, I was the first person to say I love you first. I did tell him that I loved him first. I was the first one to say I love you. And honestly, I don't regret that at all. I think it's such a worldly thing that the guy always has to do everything first, and the guy has to say, I love you first, and make all the moves. And I don't know. I just don't really genuinely believe in that. I think if you love something and your heart is in something, what are you waiting for? Life is so short, and to not tell people how you feel about them, or to not take the chance or not take the opportunity, then you're missing out on what could potentially be a huge impact in your life, you know? So, I mean, do I agree with a man leading the house and a man leading you? Absolutely. But I also believe that if you want to take the step farther in a relationship, or you want to talk to that boy or talk to that guy, what if you never did and that was the person that was supposed to be meant for you? You know what I mean?
If you're feeling it, just say it.
Yeah, just say it. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not about
Absolutely.
taking charge. If you're feeling an emotion, just
Yeah.
say it.
I think it's so important. I think everyone's so scared because they think that a guy has to do all these things for them, and be this person that social media makes men out to be. And I just think that's so false.
I, I mean, I don't think it's social media. I mean, a man does have a role, but I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a man needs to say "I love you" first. If you wanna, if the woman wants to say "I love you" first, it's no big deal. Like, if
Yeah.
she's feeling that emotion, and the guy doesn't need to feel obligated to say it back if he's not ready. You
Right.
know,
Absolutely. You
because
said it
it.
back though.
Well, of course I did, because I did love you at the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wait, what? At the time? I was wondering why you're smiling at me like that. Do you still love me?
Yeah,
Are
of
you
course.
sure?
Yeah, like a big
Okay.
glass of wine.
Great. Perfect. Um, so our relationship has definitely gone through a lot since the beginning and to now. In the beginning, we were in the honeymoon phase. We were obsessed with each other, spent every single waking moment together, never got sick of each other, didn't argue. We had a very good relationship, really good, healthy relationship in the beginning, which I never had before. That was something I didn't really have in my relationships either. I didn't really have a healthy relationship. So that was also something that was very, very new to me with you. That was different for me, and honestly I kind of feel like I did things to sabotage.
Ouch.
I feel like that just sounds real bad, but I mean
Does.
kind of like sabotage the relationship to be like, oh, this something's wrong with this relationship, something's got to be wrong because it was just so perfect,
Yeah.
you know. And I definitely was not where I am mentally today in the beginning of that relationship, but it also was so good and so healthy. We were new, we were figuring out things. We did start living together since the day that we started dating. And yeah, it just seemed like it was like too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, we just got along really well. Like, we
Really
were
well.
two peas in a pod.
Yeah. And then once we got a place together and got our own expenses, because we weren't at that time, we weren't paying bills, we didn't have rent, we didn't have any expenses really. Once we started living together in a house, we were like, oh crap.
Crap.
Yeah. And also, Chase hadn't ever lived away from home yet, until we started dating. So it was definitely a big shock for you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of how that was navigating for you? I know a lot of people could definitely use some advice on that as well.
Well,
He was a spoiled little
I was a
boy.
21-year-old millionaire living at home.
You were not a millionaire.
No, so when I was living at home, it's like, it's just a false sense of reality, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Um, because when you're working and living at home, you don't have bills necessarily. Like, I had my car payment, insurance, my phone. Like, I've always paid for my cars and stuff since I was 17. My parents
Mhm.
helped me with my first car, and after that I bought every car after that, and I had like 7 cars by the time I was 20. Well, I just like trucks, so I'd
Mhm.
buy different trucks and do all kinds of stuff. But anyway, when you're living at home and you're working and making money, it adds up quick, and you really don't realize what it's like being out in the real world. And I say that because, let's say you're making like $1,000 a week. At home, that means you're stashing away probably like 860, like $3,200 a month after taxes and everything. Um, which is a good amount, especially when you don't have bills. Now, you go out into the real world, say you're making that same $1,000 a week, you would add rent, groceries, just going out to dinner every once in a while and all that, and your expenses just completely wipe out everything you're making. So my expenses now are like over $4,000 a month, just to live, which is
Yeah,
crazy. And
crazy.
we
It's like a
and we
shock.
split everything.
Yeah, we do.
So that means like just our household's probably like somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000 in expenses a
Yeah.
month, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And if you're living at home, you don't have those expenses, so you just kind of have like these blinders on, I think, and you kind of become arrogant to the
Mhm.
fact of what reality is.
Yeah, it's so
And
true.
like, I was at home, like I said, I would buy different cars, like, not even thinking about going and spending $70,000 on a truck,
Yeah.
and having $1,000 car payment at 21 years old. not thinking anything of it. Now I would think, of it. I mean,
Right.
I still have a car payment, but I wouldn't go spend $1,400 on a car payment now because that's what the Raptors are now.
Chase's dream is a raptor. We're going to speak
Again,
it right here on this podcast. Chase will
this
have a
year,
raptor this year. By the end of this year,
2024.
he will have his raptor.
Um, but like if I was living at home, like I probably wouldn't even think twice about going and spending
Also,
that.
you did have a raptor when I met you, and that is why I
Well,
fell in love with
yeah,
you a little bit more.
I know we've been over this several times. You
Fell
love
in
me,
love
you
with him
like
for
me
the
for my
truck.
truck, and now I have a Tesla, and
And now I don't like you.
you don't like me
I'm kidding.
anymore.
I love you so much. No, but it's true. And it definitely was a big shock for us. And also, the first year of us living in this house together was great. And then the second year is when you got a lot of anxiety. The anxiety took over your life. And it was really hard for us in our relationship. And it was really sad for me to watch. And
Mhm.
it was because also you have never been the type of person to ever have anxiety.
Never.
You've never had anxiety. You've never had anything like that. You
So
forgot
come to find
about
out,
that.
my dad had a lot of very similar like symptoms that I would get.
Yeah.
But like up to that point, I never had anxiety, but I don't know if it was from COVID or if it was hereditary. But it like got to the point where I couldn't leave the house.
No, he couldn't leave the house. We couldn't do anything. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He wouldn't even like talk to me. It was
I
so
couldn't eat
sad. No, couldn't eat anything.
I would force myself to eat because I thought I was gonna pass out. Remember we
Yeah.
go like on walks and stuff, and I would have to have like
Yeah.
a bar or something with
He
me
would
because I
have to
thought I was gonna
wake up
pass
in
out
the morning and make himself potatoes and eggs every single
immediately.
morning. Immediately.
Immediately. Like if we were going somewhere on vacation, like I had to know that they had like a certain type of breakfast. They had to have apples and these types of things because I went so far down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
that I thought I was allergic to all these things. I thought I had food allergies that I couldn't eat certain foods. I thought certain foods were causing my anxiety,
Yeah.
and I just went way too far down a rabbit hole. And like I think it stemmed from a lot of stress and becoming like an adult and facing reality. At the same time, it's something that you just have to go through and learn because I went to the doctor and I could have got antidepressants, but it's not something that I wanted to do because that just masked the problem. I wanted to deal with it head on and get through it. Once I finally figured out that it was anxiety, it was much easier to deal with because it was so new and just feeling like I was going to constantly pass out, like thinking I always had to eat something, thinking I had diabetes, thinking I had stomach issues, thinking that everything was wrong with me, thinking I was going to die every single day. It was just like a snowball effect. And
Yeah, it was so
eventually it just got
sad.
to the point like I'm sure you remember I was sitting on the couch crying, like saying, I
Yeah.
don't want to go through this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I can't take it anymore. And it finally just got to the point to where I was like, you know what? Screw it. I got back into the gym. That really
Oh
helped
yeah,
me
you stopped going to the gym, which was
for three
also
years.
crazy. Yeah, 3
Yeah.
years, literally.
So I stopped going to the gym, but I got back into the gym and I started going back to church again.
Mhm.
And those two things just compounded and started to build my confidence, knowing that like God had my back and that I was more capable than I would thought I
Well,
was.
also, I wasn't following God either. So I wasn't even helping you through it
Mhm.
in the way that I should have been helping you. And I was getting annoyed with it. I was getting stressed out with it. I didn't know how to deal with it because I've also dealt with anxiety my whole life and I'm just like, "Oh, get over it. You can figure it out." And I wasn't being a woman of God and helping you through it the way that I should have been and the way that God wanted me to. And we both didn't know how to do it then. We
No.
both didn't know how to do it through God or do it with God. We had no idea. And I truly believe if we had him in that time that it would have been such an easier process because it was a whole year of your life that
It was longer. I think it was a year and a half that
yeah.
like we went through that. Like I remember on your birthday, like going on vacation. We rented the bikes and everything, and I remember riding the bikes on the beach and rushing to the rushing to the ocean to sit
Running.
in the water.
And Chase doesn't go in the ocean, everyone. He does not
No.
swim in the ocean.
So rushing to the ocean because I thought I was gonna pass out from overheating.
On my birthday.
So I sat in the ocean the whole day pretty much.
Yep.
We went to
Honestly, it
get
was great though
lunch.
because I got you in the ocean.
Yeah, we went to get lunch. Thought I was gonna pass out at lunch. It was just like this constant feeling of thinking I was gonna pass out, and like I
Yeah.
never did.
No.
Like not once, but like for some reason I thought I was going to every single day, all day long, and it was just awful. But I learned how to get through it, and I grew immensely
Yeah, you
from
did.
it. And now I know when I'm feeling it how to control
Well, even like I think the worst part for you was, and like I know we haven't even really talked about this, but I know that this killed you was my grandpa's funeral. My grandpa passed away in a helicopter accident on April 26th, 2022. And we flew up to New York, of course, to go to the funeral and be there for him. And Chase couldn't make it to the funeral because his anxiety was so
well, no,
bad.
I was there. So we did
Yeah,
the open
we went to the
casket,
wake. Yeah.
and that like really
That
got me
was,
seeing the open
yeah,
casket because like
horrible.
it was a helicopter crash, and they tried their best, but
It was
it was
really
hard to look
hard.
at.
Yeah.
And the next day was the actual funeral, and we got there, and there's a bunch of cops,
Everyone that was there. There
everyone,
was literally
firefighters. There
1,500
was
people
so many
there. It was
people,
crazy.
and we get there, and I was just like I just blacked out, and I was like I can't be here,
Yeah.
and I felt so bad because I wanted to be there for McKaleigh, but I just like it
Yeah.
just came over me. I had to. Did I drive home?
No, I think my mom came and picked you
Did
up.
she? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't remember. And I got there, and I I again felt like I was gonna pass out, so I'm sitting there eating Ritz crackers and sipping on water to try
Mhm.
to get food in my system because
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I need to eat, and like that's how far down the hole I was. But I think that was also one of the first times
Mhm.
that I got
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah, after his passing, I think really affected both of us. That was a really really hard
Yeah,
situation for
because it
us.
was like the plane ride there too. I
Yeah.
had it because I've always loved flying in a plane. Like
Yeah.
I've always loved it. Like flew to Colorado all the time when I was younger, and that trip there was
It was rough.
awful.
It was
It was
horrible.
very
It was
rough.
scary. I mean, we had just had a tragic accident happen like that, and
Yeah.
it was really scary. But and it just goes to show you how much the enemy, when he has you. And
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that that's exactly what happened to you. We were so far gone from God at that point in our relationship that the enemy just had us, and he had you, and he was doing everything he could to keep you
Yeah.
down and to pull you down. And it just goes to show that if God is in the center of your life, then anxiety sparks, all of these awful feeling sparks, because you're doing exactly what the enemy wants you to do.
Yeah.
You're not with God, you're not following him, you're not with him, and that's exactly what the enemy wants. And when that happens, it pulls you down into the darkest pits of your life, and that's exactly where you were. um but I'm so happy you got out of it. And that was one of the hardest things in our relationship. And from there, our relationship started to go in a little bit of a decline. We really lost our connection with each other. We lost our spark with each other because we couldn't go out on dates. We couldn't do anything. You couldn't be around friends. It was just a lot of things that you couldn't do, which isn't
Mm.
your fault, and which I'm, totally understand. But looking back on it, that really started the decline of our relationship a little bit. It put me in a bad place. It put me in this place of um, anger towards you because we didn't do anything for a year and a half. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't have friends over. Like, we couldn't do anything, and it was just not how I wanted to live my life with you, because we came from this happy place and this easy place and this fun relationship to literally not doing anything that we used to do.
Yeah.
We used to go on weekend trips all the time, and we used to do all these things, and we couldn't do those things anymore because you were so scared and you were so in your anxiety and so in your head. And it was it was so sad. It
Yeah.
was so sad. So that started a little bit of the decline of our relationship, and I again didn't know how to be a godly girlfriend and how to be supportive in that way. So we both were just in this pit of darkness that in our relationship that we didn't know how the heck to get out of.
You stuck through me with those hard
Yeah, of
times, which I really
course.
appreciate. And like, you were there for me. Like, I remember the day like I broke down on the couch crying. Like, you were there, rubbing my chest, like rubbing my back, like getting me through it.
Yeah, and I was
And
trying to get you to do all the healthy ways. If you know me, I'm a very holistic person, and it's not that Chase isn't. There's just some things that I go a little bit to the extreme. And I was really
yeah,
trying to do everything holistic for him, but he just was a little
the
resistant
essential
to it.
oils and all that stuff. I remember
Yeah.
like dabbing up essential
Foods.
oils on my wrist every
I was
day.
trying to
And
do like the medical medium approach with celery juice and all these things. He was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, fine, then sit in your anxiety. But
yeah,
no, we got through it and it was a hard time, but look where we are now.
yeah,
And then yeah, like I said, so after your anxiety, it definitely brought us in a decline because I feel like we didn't know how to like have that connection again. You know, we lost it so much that we didn't know how to get it back. Also, you know, we both have been to that personal development course
yep.
and we both have done that training. We both have done two of the sections of it.
And thank God we had those tools, because
Yeah.
I think we probably wouldn't have made it past 6 months
Yeah,
if we
no.
didn't.
I agree.
Well, I mean, you went. When did you go?
I went in October. So we had been dating 3 months.
3 months.
And then I went to the second one in January. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
which was very helpful, because like then we had the tools to be able to communicate with each other and get through that. Just like the resistance exercises and all that stuff.
Yeah, and personal development in a relationship is super important. Personal development on your own is super important because you get to find out a lot about yourselves and a lot about your partner and get to know how to talk to your partner and get to know how to communicate with
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
That's so important because you're a team at the end of the day and it's not against each other, it's with each other. And if you don't have those tools to figure that out together, then your relationship isn't going to make it because we're me and you are a team. We're not in resistance towards each other. We're not supposed to be in resistance towards each other. And being in resistance just causes a further and further distance from each other.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that we both have those tools that we got to learn in that personal development course because I also didn't know any of that stuff. And
I went to teen camp when I was, I want to say like 13, 14 years old.
yeah.
I was young.
And then you went to the advanced course when you were on your 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
21 in a personal development.
We've been arguing back
I
and forth.
am not getting paid enough for this.
We're talking about personal development while I'm telling you to stop twiddling your thumbs like a child. Anyway,
You know me, I am a twiddler.
I call Chase a twiddler because I feel like he doesn't get like a lot of work done. I feel like he kind of just sits there and scrolls on things and he hates when I say it. I love you for it, but
I just have severe OCD and
and
potentially
ADD.
ADD. So when you mix those together, there's a lot of twiddling happening.
There's a lot of things
It's
happening.
like it's like you open up a link on Google, right? And you start doing one thing, and then this
Unbelievable.
thought creeps in, and you open up another link or another tab, and then you're research, and then you go to Chat GPT and you put something in there, and
He
then
talks to Chat GPT more than he talks to me. I just want
you know
everyone
why?
to know that.
Because Chat GPT tells me what I want to hear.
I know, and I
I put
don't.
something in there, and I say, use this tone, use this voice, and tell me the answer, and it tells me exactly how I want it.
That's so sick. That's sick. That is a sick world we live in. That's what happens. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that right now. Anyways, what I was
You
saying
sure?
is,
I will go down a rabbit
no,
hole
we're
about
not
that.
going down the Chat GPT
Because
rabbit hole.
that's
That
that's
is
me
so
right there.
sick.
Is
So
all that kind
unbelievable.
of stuff. Anyway, you didn't let me finish.
Okay,
Is
sorry.
is it, and then by like the end of the day, I look up at all my tabs, and I can't even like see how many there are because there's so many open. Like, does that ever happen to you?
Um, no.
So my computer, by the end of the day, I think today I had like 40 or 50 tabs open on the top.
I think
And
that's
I was
a
just like clicking
problem.
the X mark at the end of the day to close them all out. I'm
I
like,
think you
how
should
did
go
this even
seek help.
happen? And I get back to my original tab that I started at, and I'm like, I didn't even finish this. What happened?
Wow. I've never heard you say a more true statement. I'm so glad that you've overcame your issues in this
I
podcast right
understand.
now.
I know this is an issue. The problem is is I can't catch myself when I start doing it.
I know. Our personal development background and our training that we have done has significantly helped us. Me listening to podcasts, me reading books, you listening to podcasts, and you reading books, it's really, really held our relationship together and it's really kept it strong. And I'm so grateful and thankful for that. Is there any advice that you would offer to any couples navigating tough situations that we have implemented in our relationship?
Can you give me an example?
When I used to blow up on you,
Mm.
because that was what I was used to, and I was used to yelling and telling you what to do and talking at you. What do you what advice do you have to someone who's going through that exact same thing?
Have open and honest conversations about it,
Yeah.
about how you feel when that happens, because it took like a year and a half or 2 years of me consistently telling you that does not work for me, for you to finally understand like it doesn't work, because like you would
Yeah.
yell because that's what you're used to, is like your Italian family. You guys yell at each other and that's just how you talk. I'm Italian too, but we're not the yelling type. So you would yell and I would just shut down and not listen, and then you would get even more mad,
Mhm.
and I would tell you like, hey, that doesn't work for me. I don't like being talked to like that. I shut down. I just want to be talked to at a nice level. If you need something, you tell me and just be straight up about it. Don't like get upset. So if I was to give any advice, it would be to talk to your partner and be completely honest with them. Like if they're talking to you in a way that you don't like, to say, hey, I feel disrespected when you talk that way. Can you work on how you talk to me?
Mhm.
And like I said, it took, I want to say, a year and a half, maybe even two
Yeah.
years before it finally got to you where you were like, okay, he doesn't respond to that.
Yeah.
And you finally were like, you changed the way. Now you talk to me completely different. Like if you need something done or you need help, you'll ask me in a nice way. You ask politely and say please.
Yeah.
At the end, it's not like you never helped me do this, and stay away from absolute words.
Yeah. Absolute
Our
words.
friends taught us that one.
Yeah. Shout out Logan and
Yeah.
Ariel.
Such as always, never,
Mhm.
things like that. So
You never
like
help me clean the house. You
you
always are sitting on the couch. You're stay
yes,
away from that. That's definitely something that's helped
because
us.
you're disregarding when they actually do help you.
Yeah.
Because I do help with the dishes. I do help clean the house,
Hmm.
but if you feel like you're doing it more and then you say you never help me, then you're completely disregarding when I
Yeah.
do help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's just been like a huge thing in our relationship. Neither of us are perfect and we're always going to make mistakes and we're always going to be learning more,
Yeah.
but I just know when I talk to you at a place of groundedness and not talking at you or down at you, that has made you respond so much better to me and also made our relationship so much healthier. Because I know in this past summer we were at our almost breaking point and we both kind of were just at our wits end. We didn't want to do it anymore. We were just like, we're constantly arguing. We're not happy. There's always something. And I think when you make something out of nothing, too, that's when it gets really hard and complicated as well. And I think that just sitting down and talking and being open and honest with each other has definitely been something that's really helped us.
Absolutely.
Because we definitely have a very open and honest relationship. I can come to you about anything and you can come to me about anything. And it's the way that we talk to each other about it and it's the way that we ask each other before, which is super important. We are always asking each other, hey, can we talk about this? Hey, can we sit down? Hey, can we figure this out? Instead of just yelling about it and forgetting about it and not fixing it.
Right.
Because our both of our feelings are very important and valuable, and that's something we've both had to learn. I value what you need in a relationship and you value what I need in a relationship, and that's in a relationship you need to have that value. You need to have that, because if you're not valuing what the other person needs, then you're never going to have that cooperation with each other.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
So that personal development aspect has definitely helped us. And now going into a little bit of our faith journey, which is definitely, we've always prayed. since we've been together, and that was something that I loved when I met you, because I never really had a Christian boyfriend either. You were my first like Christian boyfriend, and the first time we ever had dinner together, you prayed, and I was just like, "What? Like this is craziness."
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. And it was really cool to have that and to see that, because that was something I always wanted. I always wanted a Christian boyfriend. I always wanted a man of God, and I always wanted someone to lead me to God, to keep me connected to God. I think that that's something we've really found recently. And since September in our walk with God, it still was a little bit rocky in the beginning, but we have grown so strong in our faith. We actually just went to our first Bible study together this past Friday. And I've been in the Word and just really figuring out what it is to be a woman of God, and a woman of God in a marriage and a relationship for when we do get married, just
Yeah.
knowing what that means, because that's super important to both of us, I think. And we both have also realized that putting God as the center of our relationship is what our relationship is going to revolve around, because if He's the foundation, then nothing can knock us down.
Absolutely.
What have you noticed since I've even started with God and being closer with Him, and all and everything like that?
Well, I mean, I think you've just become like a completely different person, to be honest with you. It's like when you get up in the morning and you're reading your Bible, like I feel like it just sets your day up for success.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like you're the personality type that needs that type of structure
Well,
waking up every
yeah.
day.
And when you first met me, I had that structure of my dance life. I had that. I grew up with structure in my life. And then
Yeah.
when dance was taken away from me, I lost all the structure in my life, and I literally was in complete chaos. I had no idea what to even do. And you got to see that part of me. And I think both of us got to experience probably the worst times in our life. You got to experience me losing dance, and I got to experience you through your anxiety that you've never dealt with, which
Yeah.
is probably one of the worst things that you've had to deal
It was
with.
definitely my low point.
Yeah. And me losing dance was my low point. So you got to see me losing all that structure in my life and navigating now a life that I have to work a real job, that I have to make an
Yeah.
income for myself, which I was doing through dance and doing what I love. And then I had to navigate getting an actual job and making money to pay bills. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a horrible thing for me, because I'm not doing what I love the most.
Yeah.
And I had to finally put my foot down and say, okay, am I going to still stay in this constant low point, or am I going to find God and find my purpose through Him and figure it out and be a better person for our relationship?
Yeah.
Because if I don't get this together, if I don't get my stuff together right now with God, me and Chase aren't going to work out.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true.
Okay, everyone, Kaya is here. She came over to join the party. Do you have anything to say? Something that also was super important for me was to get baptized with the person that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And I have never been baptized before, so I got baptized with Chase.
And
Um,
possibly the roughest ocean
yeah,
day.
it was really
People
scary.
were literally getting taken.
Yeah.
Like they're getting baptized and getting washed ashore from the
All
waves
of our
as they're
sins were
dunking.
washed away that day. I mean, it was amazing to get baptized in
It
the
was.
ocean and to get baptized with you and us together. And I think that really just put in the foundation of us even more together. It was a really cool
No, it
thing.
was cool, and it was.
And I think that's something that really started our faith together even more and made us even stronger together. Our relationship has gone through some highs and lows, and no relationship is going to be perfect. We're still figuring it out. We're still very new in our faith walk together. We're still trying to navigate how to communicate even better with each other and be better
Yeah.
every day. No relationship's going to be perfect. There's always going to be their ups and downs, and you're always going to have to go through a hard time in the relationship. And it's just if you come out stronger or if you come out weaker. And I think we both have definitely come out stronger from all the things that we've been through, and we've both definitely learned a lot and we've grown a lot, and I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too. I think we've done really well.
Yeah.
Like we've grown leaps and bounds from like the, you know, since we started dating to now.
Mhm.
I think every relationship has to go through that, and that's something that our generation doesn't fully understand, and that's why so many people they date for a few months and then they break up
Yeah.
because there's not going to be that perfect relationship.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some sort of something going on.
Yeah.
You know?
And I definitely feel like the enemy, since we've gotten closer with God, has really, really tried to tear us down and has really, really tried to get in between us. And I just think that we have shown him, like, you have no authority over our
Yeah.
relationship. And we will continue to say that and preach that and just walk in that, because we know that
Mhm.
God has us and he doesn't. And we've definitely changed our relationship to a lot of things, godly things. We've implemented a lot of godly things in our relationship that we haven't before, and it's been a big change for us. And there's been a lot of differences in trying to navigate those things,
Yeah.
but we've done some great things.
Yeah, no, I think we've done awesome things, and I'm really proud of you for like the things that you've done. I'm proud of myself for the things that I've done, and it's been hard. It's been a big change, but at the end of the day, it's for the better. And
Yeah.
when
And we are better.
we are much better, and fighting off temptations and all those things, and thoughts, and it's like being able to control those things, knowing that God has our back,
Yeah.
and becoming a more godly person every single day.
Every single day. So I would like to end this podcast together with a prayer for anyone listening to this, going through a tough time in their relationship, or going through a tough time trying to find a relationship or anything like that. We'd like to just end this in a little bit of a prayer over you guys.
All right.
Dear Lord, I pray for anyone listening to this podcast right now who's going through a tough time in their relationship or a tough time in their life, that you would just put your hand over them and you would help guide them towards you and towards your word, and just teach them your ways, teach them that you are good, and when they have you as the foundation, that nothing can knock them down. We pray that they would follow a pure and whole way to you and to just navigate life with you. We pray this over anyone and everyone listening, and for all of our future listeners that get to enjoy this podcast and get to hear a little bit about you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And I think just something I want to add is we don't have sponsors on this show, nor do we take money from anybody yet. So if you guys pay the fee, like Andy says, share the show. Please.
The show. Yeah. We would really appreciate you guys sharing this. Thank you again for listening with us. Super excited to have Chase on with me. He's going to be on here quite a bit. You'll see him. And we're excited to just bring you guys through this.
If you allow me back.
I'll allow you back. You were just a little bit of a pain in my butt.
Sorry, my ADD was really acting up tonight.
Anyways, keep it real out there. And thank you all for listening. Love you guys so much. And we'll talk to you soon.